a loved one in someone else's care requires a great deal of trust. Family members do it every day, putting their faith in nursing homes. In some cases, it turns out their faith was misguided. Our investigative team discovered poor practices that led to neglect, abuse, even death. Just as disturbing, there were few consequences for this careless behavior.
2 weeks or 3 weeks of being here, you dead?
You know they're hot. It's
You
something
dead?
hiding.
Come on.
Then we'll hear from the reporting team that covered this story, breaking down the investigation to see what's being done to change the situation and provide consumers with information to make good decisions.
There are plenty of people that are critical of nursing homes. We've talked with state senators and state lawmakers who, especially after the Irma incident, have really kind of jumped on the bandwagon of we need to fix this, we need to make improvements.
Plus, we'll feature a pair of local entrepreneurs who got a super surprise when their product ended up in a Super Bowl commercial. We'll have those stories along with the latest in our Positively Healthy Medical series. I'm Amy Osher, and this is Behind the Headlines. I'm Amy Osher. Thanks for joining us. An investigation by the Daily News and the News Press found substandard practices at nursing homes across the state. Our review looked at violations, negligence, and lack of accountability, with worst cases ending in tragedy.
When 14 people died at a South Florida nursing home after the air conditioning failed, state leaders focused on generators. The problem with many of Florida's nursing homes isn't lack of power after a hurricane, it's poor care.
If I were having to make a decision right now, today, as to where to place my parents in a nursing facility, I don't know that I'd have confidence to place them anywhere in the state of Florida. They're not skilled nursing facilities anymore. They're becoming more and more just death warehouses, where we put people and wait for them to die.
State regulators closed the rehabilitation center at Hollywood Hills after the September tragedy. But dozens of homes with worse records of care continue to operate across the state. That's what Tony and Larry McFarley discovered after their brother, Coleman Feltz, died shortly after he was moved to a Miami Gardens nursing home in 2015.
2 weeks or 3 weeks of being here, you dead?
You know they're hot. It's
You
something they're
dead?
hiding.
Come on. That's unacceptable. You can't tell no family member nothing like that. Drown?
Feltz, who had a history of wandering away, left Golden Glades nursing home sometime during the evening of December 1st, 2015. He was found the next afternoon, face down in the shallow water of a nearby lake.
And these people getting away with just murder? That's what they're getting away with. To be honest with you, it's straight up murder. Ain't nothing but a death trap. That's what it is.
Golden Glades continues to operate and accept new patients. It's an example of the more than 50 nursing homes in Florida that the USA Today network analysis found with a long history of neglecting and abusing patients.
My expectation is that nursing homes, skilled nursing facility, anybody that's taking care of patients, the truth is, it's whether it's juvenile justice, it's a correction system, it's elders, anybody that's doing this, it has somebody that they're taking care of, do your job. And I expect my agencies to hold entities accountable.
ACA Secretary Justin Sr. said his agency is doing that.
The goal really is compliance. People are choosing to live there. When you close a facility down, you are essentially evicting them from their home. And that you can get a lot of pushback from residents. If you've had an incident or two with some of the residents, there may be 100, 200 other residents that are perfectly happy in the facility, whose families made an agonizing choice to put them there. They're comfortable with their choice.
Yet advocates and attorneys, such as Bill Dean, who makes a living suing nursing homes, contend the state is not doing enough to protect and care for Florida's most vulnerable residents.
The people to be held accountable for abuse and neglect in nursing homes is the state of Florida. It starts at the top with the governor and the legislature. If they want to really protect nursing home residents, they can change the statute, they can mandate insurance minimums, like every nursing home should have $1 million worth of insurance. Currently, they don't need any insurance. There should be more staffing. There should be more surveys. There should be more inspections. You've got a situation now where, you know, the wolf's in the henhouse. So you've got owners that are committing Medicare fraud, people are dying and being abused, so people are becoming rich at the expense of elderly abuse, neglect, and death, and the people that are supposed to be paying attention to them, the state of Florida, aren't.
We're joined in studio by the two reporters that covered this story. We've got Ryan Mills from the Daily News and Melanie Payne from the News Press. And Mel, how did you jump into the investigation then? What did you use as your criteria and your search?
Well, we developed the criteria really after we started doing the research on it. We looked at what people had for violations, what their overall quality score was from the federal government. And we chose that one because it had more variables than the state STAR system. It looks at the staffing, the things called quality measures, how many people leave the home, don't lose weight, don't get bed sores, the number of falls, that sort of thing. And then we decided that we were going to set a certain number, and we looked at people who had over 18 quarters, 1 or 2 stars on the 5-star scale. And so there happened to be quite a few of them. And then we also then further pared the list down by those that had more than 100 violations.
And what are some of these violations? Because we know that they're not all created equally. You can have some things that are fairly minor, and then people that died as a result.
Yeah, violations could be something really small, or not terribly small, but things like people had long fingernails, and the
so more neglect-based,
right? More neglect-based.
Some of it's just reporting too.
Right.
Like they didn't maintain their reports correctly, so it wasn't necessarily a violation
paperwork.
of paperwork. Exactly.
Yeah.
So what are some of the egregious things that you found, Ryan?
I mean, we found all sorts of things. We found people, the lead anecdote in our story is a man who, after just barely over a week of being in a home in the Miami area, walked out and drowned in a lake. We found people who were beat to death by their roommates. We found a nursing home in Tallahassee that patients went for weeks and weeks without getting regular blood sugar testing, diabetic patients that weren't getting blood sugar testing, lots of people who were getting pressure ulcers, even maggots in pressure ulcers. What else, Mel? What else?
Flies.
Flies,
yeah. I mean, the thing, those kind of just terrible things that really affect people's health and their quality of life. And then what would happen a lot of times is it wouldn't be cited in the inspection report that this person ends up dying. They get sepsis, which is a blood infection, and it ends up in a lawsuit. And that's another thing that we looked at, was over 200 lawsuits alleging that the people were neglected, and many of them died.
So if you all had to really search out and find which of these cases maybe resulted in death, that must make it even harder for consumers to find out this information.
A bad thing can happen at a nursing home. These people are very sick. It's very difficult. A lot of them are nonverbal. So a nursing home can have a one-off.
Sure.
But what you want to look at are things like, how long has the director of nursing been there? What's their performance over a long period, which was one of our criteria. The average violations are something around 6 or 7, I think, per survey. And if you get people who are nursing homes who are having 24, 25 violations a year, there's probably an issue there. So as far as consumers, it really is a big homework issue, which is one of the reasons I would say that the government really needs to do something to improve them all, because most people just cannot do the research necessary.
It's a very daunting task.
And I think one of the things we found was that both the state and the federal governments have these rating systems. They give you a 1 star to 5 stars. 5 stars being the best, 1 star being the worst. And that looks like a really good place to start, and it is a good place to start. But one of the things that you'll find is that homes can change drastically. A home that was a 4-star or a 5-star, 1 quarter, can drop to a 1 or 2 star. So you aren't necessarily, when you're looking at and seeing what the current rating is, you're not getting.
May not be indicative.
You're not getting. We looked at basically 5 years of history, and you're not getting that. And the other thing that's going on is that the state used to have 5 years of inspections on its website. We could go through and read the inspection reports that these inspectors generated. After Irma, because of redaction issues, the state pulled them off of their website, and now they're referring them to the federal website, which only has 3 years of inspection reports. So there's just less information out there right now. The state says that they're going to fix that. The state says that is a temporary thing, but right now, if you're looking to put your loved one in a nursing home, you only have the 3 years.
I noticed that someone you interviewed from the Healthcare Association said that there's a lot of them that do it right, and they kind of focus on that. But you found that it's not these one occurrences that you really focused on. You looked at homes that consistently had a lot of violations, and a number of them had multiple deaths over the years, correct?
True.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we didn't really think it was fair to focus just on one bad incident. And I know that that's a lot of times what people see. Something happens and it brings a bad.
Accidents can happen, but it's not necessarily.
We found over, I think it's 54 homes that had consistently 1 and 2 low scores of 1s and 2s, and had at least 100 violations. We could have added, there's, I think dozens more that would have met one of those 2 criteria, but not both. So we focus on just those 54, and that's not the end-all be-all of bad performing nursing homes either. So there's plenty of homes out there that have got problems, and they're everywhere in the state. I mean, they're from, we're in Naples right now, but there's bad homes in the Panhandle, there's bad homes on the East Coast, there's bad homes on the Northeast, everywhere in the state.
Sure. I think the oversight presents part of the problem. Can you tell me what you found out is done to these homes involving violations and things like that? How do they try to enforce some accountability?
Well, they're rarely closed down. We do know that. And we can, if you want, we can talk a little bit about why that is.
Yeah, you said there's good reason for that.
Yeah, there really is. You don't, because this is often the home for a person, and they move in there thinking this is where I'm going to live till I die. It's my home. And they'll be in there 15, 17, 20 years even. So disrupting a resident, many of them are very ill, and it's hard to move them, or it's a money issue that not everybody can take them, they're on Medicaid. So what you want to do is kind of change who is in the home, look at stabilizing some of the things. And the state feels that that's their goal, is to bring them into compliance. We just found that it just doesn't work that well often.
Because they have small fines relatively, don't they, if they are trying to use finances to kind of encourage compliance?
The average state fine is about $4,500. And these homes are bringing in multi-million dollars. Most of them are bringing in millions of dollars every year in Medicare and Medicaid. So, you're talking about a tiny, tiny sum for these multi-million dollar facilities. So that's part of the problem.
So that in itself is not going to encourage them to make wholesale sweeping changes, then? It has not shown that way historically?
Yeah, the argument we get from the Agency for Healthcare Administration is that one of the tactics that they use more often is denying license renewals. And they do that from time to time, but we do find that in most of those cases, those homes don't, like Mel said, they don't close down eventually. They come to some agreement, they may have to go on a corrective plan, but they ultimately stay open. And that's kind of what we're focusing on, is that these homes that have long histories of poor performance are still staying open. And that's just kind of what we're seeing, is that a lot of these homes do stay open. Even if they're on a corrective plan, they don't necessarily get better. In most cases, we found that they didn't get better.
Well, now that you've kind of done all the legwork and laid it out on a silver platter, what do officials think? Did they find this disturbing at all?
I don't know.
I mean, officials being the governor has said that it's his. He believes that the federal, that he believes his state agency is doing an effective job of regulating homes, and ACA says that they believe that they get compliance from homes when they come in and find violations and find deficiencies. But again, what we're seeing is that there are plenty of homes out there that have been bad homes for years and years and years, and they are still open right now. And
so no real acknowledgement of we do need to do something more for the people in those homes?
Well, I think that maybe after the article runs and people start to put pressure on their legislators to maybe institute some things that that bring these homes better into compliance or improve conditions for people, and people see how really serious it is. I mean, this is a state with a lot of older people and people who are baby boomers who have to look for somewhere for their parents, and people who have major surgeries and need rehabilitation.
It's a very vulnerable population.
Yeah.
And I don't want to give the impression that there's nobody out there that is critical of nursing homes. There are plenty of people that are critical of nursing homes. We've talked with state senators and state lawmakers who, especially after the Irma incident, have really kind of jumped on the bandwagon of we need to fix this, we need to make improvements. And there's people who've long been involved in the nursing home industry in Florida who are calling for reform, and they've been calling for reform for years. So that's still out there. But you talk to ACA, you talk to the governor, and they feel like they are performing pretty well.
Well, I think what you all have done by bringing this out in the paper is a first step in kind of showcasing the problems, and we'll see what happens there. You can read this full report at naplesnews.com and news-press.com. From South Florida to the Panhandle, no part of the state is untouched by incidents of preventable deaths, abuse, and neglect. Here's a look by the numbers. Since 2013, 54 nursing homes had more than 100 violations each, receiving the lowest scores in at least 14 of 18 quarters. Mistreatment, abuse, and neglect in this capsule of 54 worst homes contributed to at least 209 deaths. State fines average less than $5,000, and only 2 homes have been shut down since 2013. The second of which was the Rehabilitation Center at Hollywood Hills, where 12 residents died after being left in the home without power for 3 days following Hurricane Irma. Still ahead, imagine seeing a product you created on one of the biggest spectator stages in the world. It was a super moment during the Super Bowl that was quite unexpected. That story is up after the break.
Life here is amazing, and so is the joint care. At the Total Joint Center at Physicians Regional Healthcare System, we've changed the experience of joint replacement for good. With our comprehensive joint care program, most hip and knee replacement patients return home in just 2 days, because we know you want to get on with your active life. Pain-free living starts at Physicians Regional Medical Center, Collier Boulevard, and Physicians Regional Medical Center, Pine Ridge.
Hiring the right moving company is important. Best Moving and Storage is a family-owned and operated business serving Southwest Florida for over 22 years. From our free in-home estimate until the last piece of furniture is in your new place or stored in our climate-controlled warehouse, we treat you like family. Best Moving and Storage is fully licensed and insured, with all of our employees being certified drivers and packers. When it comes to protecting your treasured belongings, choose a company that's experienced and trustworthy. Call Best Moving and Storage today at 239-592-6565.
My name is Steve Unser, and cabinetry is my specialty. I have been creating custom designed cabinetry for 20 years in Southwest Florida, and now I am celebrating the grand opening of our new Naples showroom. Steve Unser Cabinetry will help you design your kitchen, bath, or home office with stunning results, offering the best quality of cabinets with a wide variety of design options and pricing to fit any budget. If your kitchen isn't becoming to you, you should be coming to us. Now, 2 locations to serve you.
Hemorrhoids are without a doubt one of the most unpleasant of medical topics. If you've ever suffered from them, you may find comfort in knowing you're not alone. More than 75% of people ages 45 and up have had hemorrhoids. While it may be painfully embarrassing, there's now a painless way to treat them. Here's the latest in this week's Positively Healthy. Comfortable and gentle are words not usually associated with hemorrhoids, but doctors say the banding method of treatment is just that.
It's virtually painless. The way the technique is done is the patient lies on their side, the instrument is introduced through the rectal opening, and a small, very tiny rubber band is applied.
Performed right in the doctor's office, there's no special prep required. It's a simple, clear-cut procedure that doesn't involve cutting. The rubber band is placed just past the hemorrhoid.
And the way it works is that rubber band that's been applied causes a small sore to occur, and as that sore heals, it lays down scar tissue, and the scar tissue prevents blood flow to the hemorrhoid, causing the hemorrhoid to shrivel up and shrink down.
Years ago, surgery was a primary form of treatment. Today, board-certified gastroenterologist Michael Cohen has several tools at his disposal,
including laser techniques, infrared techniques, and the banding. But at this point, hemorrhoid banding has really emerged as the leader.
The banding method only takes a few minutes and may require multiple sessions to provide complete relief. It's an uncomplicated option for hemorrhoids that provides long-term results.
When I explain the technique to patients, I usually get sort of a skeptical look like, it doesn't really hurt and it's so simple. And so yeah, it really is.
For some people, the commercials are the best part of the Super Bowl, and this year anyway, a duo of local do-gooders would have to agree. It was a 30-second commercial featuring Matt Damon promoting a nonprofit which aims to provide clean drinking water that caught their attention. For a brief second, a Woo Bamboo toothbrush flashed up on the screen. It was a super surprise that set off major excitement. The very distinctive biodegradable toothbrush is the brainchild of a Cape Coral company. Its owners had no idea their eco-friendly product was about to get such a high-profile placement.
It's obviously not an ad for us because it is so quick, but it's definitely confidence building for people that do use our brush. You know, people that use it saw it and went, "Oh, that's my toothbrush." Yeah. You know, and the whole commercial is about positivity and change and a better planet. So, what brush would they use besides Woo Bamboo?
You can read more about the toothbrush and other environmentally conscious products the company is rolling out by checking out David Dorsey's story at news-press.com. Hard to top that one, but we'll try. Here's a look at other stories we're covering on the beat. Guys?
Thanks, Amy. This week we're going to be taking a look at the Vibrio bacteria. It's a dangerous and sometimes deadly bacteria that's found in kind of brackish waters. And we saw an uptick of cases, confirmed cases here in 2017 in Collier County and in Lee County. Collier County actually led the state in cases with 5, and Lee County was second and with 4 confirmed cases, including 2 deaths here in Southwest Florida. So we're going to be taking a look at what conditions caused the uptick in seeing the confirmed cases of the bacteria and see if those conditions are still going to be here in 2018. So find out more about that at naplesnews.com.
Hi, I'm Shelby Reynolds. I'm a features reporter at the Naples Daily News. Last week I visited a garden in the Golden Gate Estates that is inspired by the very formal English country garden. And the woman who did this is actually from Great Britain, so she wanted to recreate the look that she grew up with. You can actually tour this garden next week during a tropical plant sale. I have all the details in Saturday's Naples Daily News or online at naplesnews.com.
Hi, I'm Annika Hammerschlag and I'm the education reporter at the Naples Daily News. Collier County Public Schools has received a number of threats since the Parkland shooting. Some of these have been circulating online on social media, and others have involved students who've brought knives to school. On Wednesday, a number of high schools staged walkouts to protest gun violence. Read more about it at naplesnews.com.
Now we'll hand it off to Brent Batten for our weekly commentary. Brent.
Thanks, Amy. Here we go with the Russians at the Olympics again. You know a country is serious about cheating when their curling team is caught doping. The latest scandal out of South Korea involves one of Russia's curlers testing positive for a banned substance that supposedly increases blood flow. Now, I'm as big a fan of curling as the next guy. What's not to like about a sport that holds as one of its cherished traditions the teams getting together after a match for drinks? But why on earth would someone need to take performance-enhancing drugs to compete? It's not like they need to take something to be faster, like downhill skiers, or to give them more endurance, like cross-country skiers, or to render them temporarily insane, like ski jumpers. Curling involves mostly sliding along the ice and pushing a broom. Is this an Olympic sport, or practice for clearing the sidewalk after a snow flurry? One Canadian curler said the only performance-enhancing drugs he'd ever taken were beer and Advil. Now there's a competitor. As punishment for this violation, Russians may not be allowed to march in the closing ceremonies. You'll recall that Russia has already been banned from these Olympics. That basically means their athletes have had to wear plain, drab uniforms. The way the International Olympic Committee works, they'll probably put the Russians on double secret probation, allow them to march on Sunday, and warn them that the next time their curlers are caught cheating, they'll do something really drastic, like take away their beer. I'm Brent Batten. Be sure to read my columns on Sundays, Tuesdays, and Thursdays in the Naples Daily News. Check me out on Facebook, and as always, thanks for watching.
Up next, dinosaurs come roaring back to life, and they're hanging out in a garden near you. That's ahead on Behind the Headlines.
The area's only 30 minutes or less ER service pledge means you'll find less waiting for the care you need. And because we're full service hospitals, a lot more care if you need it. Less waiting, faster care. Only at Physicians Regional Healthcare System.
Is your auto insurance keeping pace with your life? Ask for a AAA Triple Check Insurance Review to see if your current policy is still a good fit. An agent will assess changes in your life, like new vehicles or drivers. Make sure you've got the right coverage and all the discounts you deserve. They'll also see how a AAA membership can round out your protection on the road. Plus, provide roadside assistance, discounts, free services, and vacation extras. Ask for your AAA Triple Check today.
Life here is amazing, and so is the joint care. At the Total Joint Center at Physicians Regional Healthcare System, we've changed the experience of joint replacement for good. With our comprehensive joint care program, most hip and knee replacement patients return home in just 2 days, because we know you want to get on with your active life. Pain-free living starts at Physicians Regional Medical Center, Collier Boulevard, and Physicians Regional Medical Center, Pine Ridge.
The Naples Botanical Gardens might be mistaken for Jurassic Park these days. 10 life-size animatronic dinosaurs are back from extinction in full view of the public on the garden grounds. The dinos stand as high as 15 feet and are equipped with electronic brains that activate realistic movements in their eyes, mouth, neck, and limbs. While their motions may be realistic, the dinosaurs' colorings are creatively inspired with a mix of bright colors and patterns. They're all part of a traveling exhibit out of Texas called the Dinosaur Company that visits museums, zoos, and gardens. This bunch is on display in Southwest Florida until June. You can hunt for them lurking in various pavilions at the Naples Botanical Gardens. Read more about it in Shelby Reynolds' story at naplesnews.com. Finally today, check out these bad boys. You may have spotted these funny-looking bicycle-type contractions on the streets of Southwest Florida. They're called elliptigos, and they're touted as a low-impact alternative to running. Mike Ruffalo, who considers himself an elliptigo ambassador, can be seen leading a group of bikers around Naples. The cycles perform similar to an elliptical machine you might find at the gym, but these allow you to get up and go, taking your cardio outdoors. They're supposed to be easy to operate and easy on the joints. That brings us to the end of the road for this edition of Behind the Headlines. You can always catch up on past shows by logging on to naplesnews.com. On the left-hand side under Quick Links, select Behind the Headlines. I'm Amy Osher. See you back here next week.